Welcome, Atlanta United family, once again to another episode of Resurge Despite ATL, presented to you by FILA Sports Podcast. Here with Tommy once again. Um, Here are all our social media platforms where you guys can follow us. Subscribe, share our content out. To the ones that have already shared our content out, thank you. We appreciate it. And now, to basically, a little rundown to what, you know, it has been like for the past month. We saw Atlanta United basically, being eliminated in a poor performance by NYCFC. And, now we have them, NYCFC, playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. Tommy, um, we don't really want to talk about, the past. We really just want to like recap basically what's going on right now with the playoffs. And what are your thoughts about NYCFC and Philly?
It sucks. I They showed the record of what the home record for New York City has been since like they basically been in Yankee Stadium, and it's like almost undefeated. I think there's maybe like 3 or 4 losses they've had, and I don't even know if that includes the Atlanta United loss that they had in the playoffs from years ago. But I don't want to be salty, but that stadium's garbage, and it's the only real, besides a fan home advantage, which I think that Atlanta United has. I think that they're the only ones that have this crazy home field advantage that no other team can have, and the league allows them to do it. And now we might see MLS Cup being there if RSL wins and New York City wins. They could be hosting it, and that's crazy. Like, that's just absolutely crazy that could happen. But whatever. I think I said to you, maybe 3 weeks ago, was that I thought that New England was going to lose because they had such a long layoff, and they basically played for nothing for the last month. So I was right there, but unfortunately, it just wasn't Atlanta United taking advantage of it. But we're moving on. To sum up the game, our DPs didn't do anything. Aruju was completely stopped. I literally forgot he was on the field most of the game, and then he got taken out for another useless fast guy on a small field of Jurgen Damm. You just can't do anything with a guy like that whose main things are speed and being able to get a quick push on the ball when everyone's on top of each other. So the field took away Aruju. But Moreno didn't do much. He was hurting. Sosa, I thought, actually looked very good. But he had hernia surgery, sports hernia surgery. So he's going to be out for a little while here, hopefully ready for training camp. But obviously he wasn't at 100%. So, and Joseph,
That's something that that's something, real quick, that I'm real not worried, but I'm like, how long has he had that for? If it was something that he was just waiting for like the off season to come, or I don't know, because personally I had one myself, and like, with some sort of things like that, you're able to like hold it off, like like I had that for like 7 years, and then it came into a point where like it's like, all right, you just can't take it anymore. But um with how the whole Heinz, going back to like how his whole training sessions and everything was, even when Hyman getting taken out, it's kind of like makes you think like, all right, like, did they really took out a lot of this, like did it really take a big toll on him, honestly, like that first half of the season basically. But yeah, Sosa did, and even Alan Franco. I mean, but I don't know, just like the whole defense and like the midfield, for me, it was like very torn apart. Very, without any intensity, honestly.
Yeah. And I can see that for sure. But he got hurt right before the preseason started, right?
Yeah.
And when he got hurt, he I'm sorry, like right middle of the season he got hurt, and then they said he was going to be out for a questionable amount of time. So we didn't know what questionable amount of time meant. And then all of a sudden he reappeared and he looked okay. Like, I don't think he looked fantastic, but yeah, it was a little weird how he disappeared and he was able to come back so quickly. But obviously he was, a lot of players, you see a lot of sports hernia injuries in hockey, and usually they can't play with it. It's it's an injury that they can't play with. So I mean, I guess good for them for trying to get him to play through it, but it obviously didn't work out. I thought he looked good early on, but yeah, we got to get him healthy. And like you said, how long has he been hurt? He didn't play well towards the end of the Heinz period. He struggled where he was usually normally pretty good. So it's a very good question about how long he possibly could be dealing with this. He could have been dealing with this since June. But he was also playing every single minute possible prior to that. So he might have gotten tired as well. Maybe it was just tiredness, and then being tired, he got injured more. I'm not sure.
All right. Well, now basically getting into the next topic real quick. The roster moves that, like the whole contract, termination or whatever you want to call it, that Atlanta United, confirmed basically this week or yesterday, matter of fact, in which Mo Adams, Josh Bauer, Lundegaard, and Eric Kubo Torres.
Kubo!
Everybody, man, the whole Twitter gang was just down, man. The whole Atlanta United Twitter gang was just so upset about Kubo. Like, I don't know. I just felt like for real, we just really expected way more, like way stupidly, way more than what we got. But it is what it is, man. The one that has me surprised that they haven't announced yet, but yet again, they're talking about that they're in negotiations still is Alec Khan.
Yeah, I heard Jason Longshore talk about it today about how they're probably just looking to re-sign him, but at a lower salary amount, which makes sense, especially with this team and what they want to do with the salary cap. But the biggest surprise out of that entire press conference was Jurgen Damm. I think someone just flat out asked about Jurgen, and I took it in a way, at least here's how I took it, is when somebody flat out asks you if you're cutting somebody, you can't say yes. You can't. I don't think it's something that you can do because you kill his value 100%. Now they probably could loan him out somewhere, and that would probably that would help alleviate some of your salary cap issues that you have. But damn it, if they don't get rid of him and get rid of that cap hit for a guy that started, I think, 2 regular season games, that's insane. I'm back to getting rid of Boca. He's got to go if that's legit. He's got to go. So it'll be inexcusable if Jurgen Damm is on this roster on February 28th. I will fly to Atlanta and fight everybody if he's on that roster. That's how bad of a move this is. If they
No, it is honestly. I mean, I said it on Twitter. I mean, and somebody corrected me. I said $1 million. Then somebody was like, "It's 1.1. No, it's $1.5 million being dumped into a TikTok account." Basically, that's how.
And I think when you get rid of him, the salary will end up being like if you cut him, like you're getting $1 million back or whatever it is on the cap. $1 million in MLS is huge for a cap. I mean, I don't remember what Nagby's contract was, but I assume it's got to be close to that. to what he was making. I don't remember his exact cap hit.
Yeah, I don't either. But I mean, yeah, like you say, $1 million. I mean, a lot of, I mean, like the superstars are barely getting paid in the millions, and I mean, like getting paid, over 1 million itself. Like, I mean, and this guy really hasn't, like you said, it's just been poor. It just really has been poor. But hopefully, you get rid of like and not get rid of, but going into the next one. Where does Bello, Miles, and Barco end up, in this off season? Because going back to the comments that were said, a lot of Atlanta United players are, having or a lot of teams are having interest in these players specifically, and even including Franco Escobar as well.
Well, that's a huge part. Escobar. They did pick up his option. I think the only reason why they picked it up was so they don't lose an asset for nothing. You can't lose him for nothing, and whether they just loan him out and maybe make some money off of it. If they're not planning on selling him, I don't really know what their end game here, because I think if you loan him out, you're still getting, you still have to pay his salary, like, but you're loaning him, so like they're just taking the player from you. So I'm not sure exactly how that works for him. But they said Bello has interest, and they've been saying that for a while. And you've seen some people on, I don't remember what country it was that had interest in him, but some country had interest in him. But the interesting part,
Turkey.
yeah, it was Turkey. But now they're saying that Robinson has zero interest, and that they have received no calls about Miles Robinson. And with his U.S. tenure, that's amazing that they're, first off, if that's it, like I just saw Ghostbusters, and they say like if they ask you if you're a god, you say yes. Well, if they ask you if people have been calling on Miles, you say yes, because that makes people think that people want him. And I was amazed that they did not say that. I was in complete shock. Like, you lie about that, and this team is very good at not telling the truth about things and hiding injuries and hiding things that are going on. And you don't lie that Miles Robinson doesn't have interest. That's insane to me. I'm shocked that they said that. But it's probably good for Miles to stay around, because if Miles stays, he could have interest. I mean, he can continue to play, get his minutes, because you see a lot of these guys. I mean, just I know this is a bad example, but like, we see more talented players go to the Premier League and sit on the bench for the entire season. Players with more, with more talent. I know I'm a Manchester United fan, but like that Van de Beek that they signed a couple of years ago or last season, he's barely played at all. So
Yeah.
what does Miles Robinson do? Like, unless he's being guaranteed starting minutes, I'd want to stay on Atlanta United if nobody else is offering him a starting spot. I mean, and that could, him not starting could help, could possibly cost him his spot, in the World Cup next year. Which, by the way, Walker Zimmerman is not the MVP, the defensive MVP of the season. I don't understand the session. I think he's a very good player, but maybe it's because he puts a little bit more into goal. I think he gets some more assists than Miles does, and I think he scored more goals than Miles did. Not that hard; he's only got one, but
Yeah,
Walker
right.
is the poster boy of MLS, and you see him on all the posters, the videos. I just saw a playoff video, and it had Joseph on it, but had Walker Zimmerman in it. And there was another, I mean, I don't know. I like Walker Zimmerman, but I don't think that he's all that. So that was kind of a shock to me. So yeah, I don't know. And who's the other player that hasn't? We said Bello, Robinson,
Miles and Franco Escobar.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Miles stays now. If they're making comments like that, I think that he stays. But I think Bello, I think Bello, when you still have the Ronald Hernandez move is still possibly up in the air whether they extend his loan or not. Uh,
Right.
so we don't know that. And then who's the guy from Gutman? Yeah, Gutman.
Yeah,
Uh,
Andrew Gutman. Yeah.
yeah, I mean he's good, and you talk with Red Bulls fans, they are very high on him, and he was good offensively, and as offensively talented as Bello is, he had struggles all season. He created some chances, but he whiffed on a ton. So we might actually be better with Gutman. If we we could sell if we could sell Bello now for a decent amount, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, and the one that seems to be like more out than in is Barco. Out of all three or four of the ones that we're talking about, I mean, he seems to want to be more out the door, honestly.
Yeah, that was the last guy. Yeah, I mean Barca. I especially with all these talks of Amada,
Yeah,
he's got to be gone. I think that there's already there. They've already had primary discussions of letting him go. By now. So I fully, I think that it could possibly happen. What happened to Almiron, where it like gets down to the last minute, maybe Almiron and uh, Barco are in the same. They're like practicing together in training camp, but then Barco's gone. I see him going somewhere else at this point.
two things real quick. Two things real quick. The Miles Robinson comment before. Going back to what you said. I remember Felipe Cardenas saying something about Miles getting asked, or I don't remember, he himself asked him, or another reporter asked Miles about like a possible move to Europe. And I remember he said that, he just seemed like he himself was not like too open up about it, or not, or didn't seem as interested in it. And, like he really seemed like he actually was like happy, like, being here and being like, like you said, a starter, having the minutes that he has, to be able to be like the starting center back basically for the US men's national team now, which basically going back to what you said as well, if he goes somewhere else in Europe and he doesn't have guaranteed minutes, he's putting that in jeopardy basically. And I don't think that would be a smart move, obviously, given the fact that there is 1 year left until the World Cup basically is in process or whatever. And the other one about Thiago Almada, I don't know how reliable this, website is, but um, it says, it has the whole information basically about MLS transactions. It's called Spot, or yeah, it's spottrack.com. And it basically has like all the, you know, MLS transactions that have happened, teams, it gives you like the years basically, like you're able to like narrow it down to like a lot, and the last one the last name on there for Atlanta United happens to be Thiago Almada, and it says November 5th, 2021, sign a 5-year contract with Atlanta. I don't know how, like I said, how reliable this thing is, and it has some, honestly, like a very like detail, like Luis Araujo was the transfer before that, August 6th, 2021. um Even before that, it has when Fernando Mesa had his contract released by Atlanta United, July 23, 2021. Before that, a Mercedes, and I mean, it seems to me, it seems like pretty detailed, like pretty informed and stuff. Where and it seems like Thiago Almada is here, honestly. That's what it seems like to me. I mean, he even said it himself in an interview. But I mean, it just honestly has to be just basically made public by Atlanta United. But I see him here, and I see Barco out by January. I mean, that's what I see more than anything.
Yeah, and that was the last tweet that I saw was the 5-year rumor, and that he signed it. So maybe they're just hopping on that tweet and going with it.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I mean, if they sign him with 5, it's just interesting with the 5-year contract because he said that he basically wants to be here for a year. And if that's the truth, who signs a 5-year contract then? I mean, maybe you're paying him more money to sign here, so you have the right, so then you can make money off of him later. But I don't know. I don't know if I buy that if official. But if you do, then you've got all your DPs then, Aruju and Joseph. The one that interests me is I saw the post that there's rumors that Rui Diaz wants out of Seattle. I was like, oh man, like what if that'd be, Hardy has a Pineda, but I mean we can't fit him in with Aruju. There's just absolutely no way that you can fit him into the roster. But man, what if?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's definitely one of those guys that, I mean, you want to have. I mean, he definitely didn't have probably the best career in Mexico, but when he came here, like he definitely flourished, and he adapted into the MLS, and I mean, he definitely adapted into Seattle and had very, very good, a very good time there, but. Yeah, definitely. I don't know unless something changes with like the DP rules or something. I don't know, something drastic changes, but I don't know what the, like even like the whole Leagues Cup coming up and everything. Something's got to change, because you can't sit here and expect even in the CONCACAF Champions League and stuff like that, you can't expect, for the MLS teams to sit here and go full on with clubs like Cruz Azul or what's the other one, Tigres or Club America. I mean, there are teams that are spending like millions and millions of dollars, and you just something's got to change.
Yeah, where they go I mean, I've read that they want to go to the MLS format, and that's even
yeah, I read that too. Yeah,
they want to pay less money. If they want to pay less money, that's I mean, I guess that could work. But yeah, I mean, definitely, if you want to compete, you're going to need to. I mean, I guess right now we look at our backup strikers. We still have Conway, but we still have Eric Lopez, and Eric Lopez is making a pretty big salary for a guy that basically started almost nothing. I know he started early. I know that Heinze liked him, but I mean, I think he had that one goal against Nashville or Philly. I think it was Nashville.
it was Nashville.
Yeah, he scored a really nice tap-in goal that he had. But other than that, he hasn't done anything. So
yeah.
I mean,
I saw you going back and forth with one of the guys with I think it's ATL Sile, whatever his name is, about Eric Lopez. But yeah, man, he's definitely one of the guys that is getting like paid a big chunk, for basically not producing. And I mean, hopefully, I really, really, really expect, for a healthy roster, honestly, next season, at least, basically towards the second half of the season. But you expect, MLS is a long season. I mean, especially, I mean, well, it's gonna start earlier and it's gonna end earlier, but I mean, it's a long season from February all the way until November. I mean, we're talking about more than 2/3 of the year, basically. And you just really expect for like your top players, for everybody, you expect for Joseph, without a fact, to be at least 70-80% of what he was in 2017, 18, and 19. And everybody else, honestly, you just expect them to be at a level to where they are able to compete at an intense level, because you're gonna have to. I mean, you're gonna have to fight through it next year. I feel like it's not gonna be that close to how, or I don't know. I
No,
may be wrong. I don't think it may be that close of a fight between the second and the seventh spot to how it was this year. I don't know. I may be wrong, like I said, but you just hope that they have uh, everything set up to where they're able to like compete like throughout the whole year and not have to like have these struggles how they did throughout the whole beginning of the year. But obviously that was because of other reasons, the whole Heinze thing and everything.
well, Joe, I mean, there's no midweek game. I think there's 3 or 4 midweek games this year, so which is good. So the
Yeah.
schedule congestion is going to be better. So we're not going to be having to play guys on 4 days rest often. So it'll be interesting to see what the schedule looks like coming out, and how many breaks they get, and maybe do they get because there's not going to be many international breaks. So I don't think there's going to be any next year. So it'll be interesting to see how it's all spread out from here, because they got to give some teams like some 2-week breaks or some type of a break or whatever. But yeah, it should be really interesting to see where they go with this for the remainder of next year. So I assume the schedule will probably be out. I'd say probably like the first week of January. I know we're starting off we're starting at home against Sporting Kansas City, and then we're going to the high altitudes of Colorado. And how many East? I don't remember the schedule format. Are we playing every team in the East again?
If I'm not mistaken, I think we do, and there's if I'm not mistaken, 5 trips out to the Western Conference.
Okay, so it's only 5.
Yeah.
So in some of those games, obviously Sporting Kansas City's at home. So, I mean, this is good because every time we've been stuck with West Coast teams, we've been stuck with Seattle, LA, like all the good teams in the East, or I'm sorry, in the West. So maybe us sucking has helped out a little bit. And but like usually they want us, with the high market draw so they can get that LAFC Atlanta matchup, which, I mean, we talked about this before, like Bruce Arena saying, about the whole will not be even. Well, the schedule's not even, and we were stuck playing LAFC. Didn't we play Seattle this year? Yeah, we played Seattle.
Yeah, we did.
So we probably had. I know LAFC wasn't very good this year, but still, you had to play some very good teams with some good rosters. Where like some teams were just stuck playing, some of the crappy Texas teams, right? Like
Yeah.
if we got to play Austin, that's probably 3 points as opposed to playing some of the other West Coast teams that we played, and that's a playoff spot right there.
Yeah, a home game, a home playoff game.
Not in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
We would have won
that
that
was
game.
so crucial. I feel like that was so crucial right there, man. The fact that we did, if we would have gotten that home game, that would have been a win for Atlanta. I guarantee you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that that was definitely like a game changer. The fact that definitely like you said, everything helps out.
Yeah.
And
Or that
NYFC.
if Joseph wouldn't have scored that goal in Cincinnati, we would have went to Philly instead.
Yeah.
And who knows what? I mean, Phillies was his look okay, but I know there's been a lot of talk about the playoffs and changing the playoff format because, man, there's been some garbage games in this playoffs where RSL, beating Seattle by basically they had 0 shots on goal.
Yeah.
120
minutes without a goal.
Without a shot.
Without a shot on goal.
And then you win on PKs. Like, that's ridiculous. I do think that it's better for American sports to have a one game elimination, but we've got to figure something out here. There's got to be something to figure out. But I guess I don't remember other games like this, and maybe teams are just evolving and learning.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm so stuck with like, because honestly, like I watch every single league, like from not every single league, obviously, but like I watch a good majority. And I mean, what's crazy to me is like how like they just divide things here, like how they divide it, like how it is like in baseball. Not well, yeah, even in baseball and football, and in the NBA, like they do like the Western Conference, like the Eastern Conference, and like the whole thing, like, I don't know why. I mean, personally, and I've never said this or like even posted it on social media, but personally, I would just like it to be like how it is in every other league. All right, each team faces off against each other, you know, home and away. Um, and that's the end of it, like whoever is first at the end of the whole thing or whatever, the whole schedule, that's whoever wins the league. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that would be just so much simpler instead of like having like this whole playoff thing, because like I said, I don't know, like it just makes it like home so much like Americanized. I don't know, like I guess that's the simple way to say it, because of like how they just like divide it into like the East and the West and like the whole, I don't know. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah, I agree with you. They like their Eastern Conference and Western Conference, but I think the honest reason why they did it was less travel. This isn't Europe. It's not the Premier League where 5 teams play in a very small radius where they could all hop on a bus and just go through.
Yeah.
It's very rare. Obviously, of the LAs and the Texas teams and the Ohio and New Yorks. I guess even Florida's now, but like they're spread out. So and these teams are cheap and they don't want to fly their players all over the country. And I'm sure with COVID, it's even more so now, that they don't want to be moving guys all around the place. So yeah, I don't know. I see what you're saying, and I don't disagree. I don't think they'll ever get rid of the playoff format or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, I definitely don't think so.
Americans. That's why I personally, I think that's why they got rid of the 2-leg format, because for Americans it's confusing. And my first time in the playoffs and enjoying a playoff was the year Atlanta United got kicked out of the playoffs with Columbus. But then the next year, they're in this round, they're playing New York, and I'm doing math on my fingers, going, "Wait, what? I'm sorry, what is this?" Like, and I think I told Mike Conti this the other day on Twitter. Like, I was at a bar and I had my Atlanta United jersey on, and it was the game versus Red Bulls, and the Red Bulls won 1-0. But I was celebrating, I was doing shots at the bar, pumped. They were going to MLS Cup, and this dude comes up, he's like, "Your team sucks, man. They just got eliminated." No, dude, no, they actually won. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And like, I tried to explain it to him, and he was like, "This is why soccer's stupid." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah." But like, I don't disagree. Like a novice soccer fan doesn't really understand that. But like, as I've continued to watch more soccer and expand into other leagues, like that's what they do. They're getting rid of that away goals. I know that's like one of the things they're getting rid of in some of the other leagues.
Yeah, like the Champions League has changed that. Or no, wait, has it? Or damn, I don't know. I'm low key lost. I low key had just had a brain fart, but
I think
I remember like that was a debate like a couple of years ago, like and even going into basically extra time. I remember the Atletico Madrid coach Diego Simeone was one of the ones that pointed that out to where like, all right, if I lose like 1-0 or whatever it is, and I'm able to tie it into the second in the second leg, and for whatever reason we go into overtime, then why does that have to? Why does the other team still get the advantage? We already played honestly the 180 minutes, and why does it still count on until the extra time? It should be like, all right, if you score, like that's it. Like, but then since you got the away goal, even if you score one, like that's not enough. You have to score two, because it's just it's a big mess, honestly. And like you said, now they've gotten rid of that, if I'm not mistaken, or
Yeah, I think it was Champions League. They got rid of it. I'm 99.
yeah, it was Champions League, yeah. But uh, honestly, uh, hopefully, in all honesty, I mean, I even saw Atlanta United, like posting, trying to keep like their core players in and everything, which obviously that helps, but a lot, has to happen this off season, especially like from the players' part, so try to work and try to basically have a little bit of momentum, or I
You only
don't know, just
have,
yeah, just something
you only have
something something good, man, having for them, like they just got to believe that the team is good, that there's talent, that they have everything that they need to basically succeed. I feel like that they need to believe that. That's what they need to do.
I didn't think they were starting to gain confidence, but I think I think if you only right now, I think you only have two open roster spots. I don't know if that counts Hernandez leaving or if that counts him staying. But you still need a backup goaltender. You still need a backup goalie. Um, if Bello leaves, you're just replacing him with Gutman, so that's not an open roster spot. Miles, obviously, I mean, you've got your backups for him, but like you could obviously sign a player if you got rid of Miles. Escobar is probably not going to be on this team per Felipe. And then who's the other? And then you move Barco. I mean, we probably have already got Omada. So you still got to bring a backup goaltender in. So that's one spot. And then again, I don't know if Hernandez is going to be there or not. You're getting Emerson Hyman back, which you saw the video of him like starting to run with the team or starting just to run on the field. So that's good.
Yeah.
So you've almost got a full roster. And at that point, you need to find the Joseph replacement. I don't think it's Conway, and I don't think it's Lopez, unless I do feel bad for Lopez because he came in during COVID, and my understanding was is they tried to promise him like, oh, you will play in other Mat Cups because he wasn't allowed to because of roster rules because they didn't have the young DP spot left. So they said, oh yeah, you'll play in Open Cup, and like any idiot knew that there wasn't going to be Open Cup because of COVID, and he never played. He did not play a single game for us 2 years ago, and then now he comes in and he doesn't do anything. So the worst thing you could do for a kid is to have him not play, which goes back to our Miles Robinson discussion about him possibly not getting time. So if Lopez, why they didn't put him on the twos, I have no clue. I don't know if there was roster rules or whatever. But if he's not going to play for Atlanta United, he has to be on the twos, 100%. And if they want to keep him down there for the first half of the season, to have him continue to grow, that's cool. But if not, you got to get rid of the guy. You got to, I mean, we paid a very hefty fee for him to bring him over a few years ago, and we had to hide him. We had to hide him basically because I think we loaned him out to the twos, and he never played for the twos. But I mean, you got to do something. You got to do something with Lopez. Again, if you don't have Lopez and if you have Jurgen Damm and Eric Lopez on your roster, and they're both not starting, and neither right now have shown zero anything to be starters, we're gonna have a terrible season again.
Um, I don't honestly. I don't know how long Eric Lopez is contract length is, but I see him more out honestly than in. I don't think they're gonna get any money back as much as what they pay for, but in all honesty, I mean, you just gotta get rid of that salary. I mean, it's simple as that. I mean, same thing going back with George and Dom. I mean, it's you just gotta get rid of like, that money that you're paying. I mean, you could be spending that in other players, or I mean, you could be spending that, in a backup for Joseph, given the fact that like, even going back to what we said, Conway and Eric Lopez doesn't cut it. You just have to know where you're spending your money at. I mean, it's simple as that. I mean, going back, I mean, Pineda, I know for a fact knows this as well. You know how Seattle has been like it. They really know. Like honestly, like they're one of the teams that I really look up to, like when it comes to like how they spend their money, because they really know the players that they want to, and they're not gonna sit here and like sign this like mega stars or anything like that. They're not like Inter Miami, or not a New York Red Bulls or LAFC or any of the LA or teams or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just you just really got to figure out how to spend the money. And if, like you said, I mean, George and Dom, and I mean, even Ariel Lopez, one of those two, or like, there's just got to be some salaries that just have to be let go of. And by January, it just has to be simple as that. I mean, you got to bring in more quality for the bench. That's something that Atlanta United lacked off a lot, is quality coming off the bench, to be able to close out a game, whether it comes to defensively or offensively. I mean, they've lacked that, throughout the whole year.
I mean, Mikey Ambrose, his couple minutes that he played, and Alex DeJean, the 2 games that he played. I mean, you're right. I mean, you need your guys to play, and you go back and look at that, those couple earlier versions of Atlanta United, and it's you almost saw everybody, at least you saw Andrew Carlton, get games in not only the Open Cup but in regular season games. You saw the whole bench. Most of the time, I know Miles didn't really get any play or anything like that, and Bello got his few appearances from there. But they gave these kids opportunities, and I mean, a lot of those guys have upside, and none of our Alex DeJean doesn't have upside, and Mikey Ambrose doesn't have upside. I mean, they're guys that are like almost like emergency grabs if needed.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and like I said, I mean, you just really, a lot of stuff has to change, man, honestly. Not a lot, but, within the roster or anything like that, but like a lot within the guys, because, like, I mean, not only that last game, I mean, the last 5 games, 4 games for Atlanta United were, I mean, counting the playoff game, the Cincinnati game, the New York Red Bull, New York Red Bulls, the Toronto game. I mean,
City
they
that they
were they were all like poor, like I mean, poor performances, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean I know other podcasts have talked a lot about how Atlanta United didn't I think got 1 win out of all the playoff teams the whole season, and they just beat up on all the crappy teams. I think the only win was Orlando at home, and they
Yeah.
any other playoff teams, and they were close. I mean, think about the Nashville game. I think 2 Nashville games. They blew a late lead against Orlando, Philly. They should have
The
won that.
NYFC game too.
Yeah, and the New York City game at the end of the season. I mean, there were all these games they could have absolutely won, and they didn't win any of them.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, hopefully, like I said, that everything, not everything, but, the mentality has to change, given the fact that a lot of these guys are getting paid big money and everything. You just have to expect more and you want more. Um,
I mean, our
but
came off a short off season. I mean, he was just in his preseason, so he was basically just getting warmed up. But you know, I think that he'll be fine. But I mean, the whole season basically, unless we find something in striker, and I know Seattle's backup striker got let go. BWP, which I don't want. He's a million years old. He got let go by Columbus. But I mean, there's some guys out. I mean, there's some guys, MLS guys that could sign. But your whole season is basically revolved around Joseph Martinez. I know Moreno could score goals, and I know Araújo can score goals, but your main guy has always been Joseph Martinez, and he looked good at times this season, and he looked other times like his career was over. I mean, there was games I walked out and said, this guy can't finish the season," and he did. So I mean, power to him. And then we found out later he had extra surgeries, and that's why he really wasn't ready. But they got to fix something. They got to fix something here, and I'm not sure what that's going to be.
um, just to touch one last thing, one last real thing, real quick. Now that you touched about the Joseph subject, because I was saying something in this group that I'm in on Twitter, and I said that if for whatever reason Joseph doesn't perform the way that he thinks that he should be next season, I feel like he's really, really gonna be contemplating retirement. I mean, given the fact that he already did the beginning of this 2021 year, I feel like he's not gonna like he's gonna know within himself that, if he's not given at least 50-60% of what he was between 2017 and 2019, then he's not gonna I feel like he's just not gonna feel like he's gonna want to be that burden, to where he's just, cashing out and getting paid and not doing what he expects, that he should be doing, basically. Uh, and that's why, Atlanta should really, honestly, really, really, I feel like more than anything, whether it comes to goalkeeping, defenders, or anything, they really should be worried about the goal scoring, because I mean, even when Joseph was at his best, that's why, they even got criticized a lot, because he was the one that everybody rely on, that he was gonna score. And I mean, it came down to 2020 where he wasn't there, and I mean, it was a loss, like a complete loss the entire season. So you really have to, if I was at Atlanta United, like the front office, like seriously, like that will be the number one focus. Like, where are those goals gonna be coming from if Joseph is not at his best? I mean, you just have to. The goals are the priority. I mean, if you don't score goals, you don't win games. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, you just have to find a way to get those goals. And hopefully for Atlanta, for like the city, for the team, for everybody, he's back at his best for the league. He's back to what he used to be next year. But if he's not, I mean, Atlanta are really gonna have to look deep, deep to find where the goals are gonna be coming from.
Yeah, I mean, retiring would be the easy thing, I guess. I don't know how it works in MLS if a player retires and he's your GP, but yeah, I mean, he's going to have to improve, and I think they're very high on him having the off season, which I mean, we could talk about the off season, but this isn't a hockey or football off season or basketball. This is an MLS off season, and normally it's 3 months, but like it's 2 months. Like they're going to be back in training in 2 months. So, this is some time for him to heal and continue working out and improving his leg. But, is it going to be enough time? And there's some players that have come off some major surgeries. And that extended time off helps. I don't know. I don't know if this is enough extended time for him to get fully healthy. I guess we'll see. But again, he had surgery last January. I think they said he ended up having a January. So if he had another surgery in January, we're just hitting the 1 year mark in a month. So yeah, maybe this next season he's back to being Joseph. But they neutralized him and Aruju on that field. Moreno had some points, but he was hurt. He had a foot injury. He wasn't 100% either. All three of our DPs were basically, Barco, I keep forgetting Moreno's not a DP, but Barco didn't do much. Barco tried to overdo it and try to just take the whole game on himself, which didn't work out very well. So yeah, you're going to have to figure something out here, but you need to find you need to take that Jurgen Damm money and find yourself a backup striker. 100%.
Yeah, man. All right, man. Well, thank you every single one of you guys that were on here through the live, and the ones that are still on there with us. Don't forget to subscribe to FILA Sports Podcast. Go follow us on our social media platforms. Share our content out. Thank you. Most likely we'll be doing another episode, either before or after, Tommy, between before or after MLS Cup. What do you think?
Yeah, we got a free agency. I think maybe after MLS Cup we'd talk about it, because I think you're going to have, free agency, but you're going to have the expansion draft too.
Yeah.
Talk about what players are protected and what players aren't protected. And Atlanta United's got some very interesting players that they could leave open.
Yeah, I saw that, Liz. Yeah.
So yeah, let's meet up after MLS Cup and cry that we weren't in it.
Without a doubt, yeah, man. All right, well, thank you every single one of you guys, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to Resurge the Spike ATL, and thank you guys. Till next time. All right, Tommy. See you, man.
See ya.
All right, man.